Oh, he's gonna enter some visions on his own. This is what I would do. Let's go watch some TV. I thought those were trees. I thought those were trees. If it's a vision or not, I'm not walking towards them. Eject! 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 Oh, that guy's head. How is he... Wait, that guy's looking... Or it looked like he was looking at it. So they don't need food or anything to survive? They just... And when they're not doing anything, just stand here, like, idling? The 4 horsemen of apocalypse. What, he sees him? He can see him? Eject! Get out now!
He saw me! The Night King! He saw me!
He touched you. He knows you're here. He'll come for you.
But he can't get in.
He can now. His mark is on you.
What?
You must leave, all of you.
My uncle, the Blackfish, has reformed it and retaken Riverrun.
How do you know that?
Ramsay received a raven before I escaped Winterfell.
Oh. Okay. Nice lie.
That's good.
I don't like leaving you here alone.
With John?
Not him. He seems trustworthy. A bit brooding, perhaps. I suppose it's understandable considering.
Yeah. Brooding. Oh.
The others, though. And that wildling fellow with the beard.
John isn't Tormund. John isn't Davos or the Red Woman or Stannis for that matter. John is John. Made it like the one Father used to wear. As near as I can remember.
Aww. Oh my god, Tormund. Oh no, Brienne.
Shall we close the gate, Lord Commander?
I'm not the Lord Commander.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Close the bloody gate.
Oh, their breath. They're here. Go, 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 go. Move. No, don't run to check. Just get out. Why would you create something you couldn't defeat? Stupid children. The Night King. Go back inside. Get the hell out of here.
Run! Wake up!
Just drag him. He can't move anyway. Just drag him. Saw that happen with the last time, too. How the heck are they gonna get out? Where is the second exit to this place, anyway? They're falling from the... Oh, God. No, no, no. Hodor, move!
You have to wake up! We need Hodor!
Oh, he needs the warg into Hodor. Is what she's saying. He's scared. What happened to him? No, not that Hodor. The Hodor. The other Hodor.
Listen to your friend. Hodor.
Wait, can he warg into... Oh. Yeah, let's go. Get out of here. Wait, is he still back in that vision? Oh, she had dragon glass on that spear? Very nice. Alright, Sam did give him some. No, no, Summer, go. No, Summer! Oh no. He doesn't want to die. He got Thanos'd. This better be one heck of an explosion. She's even waiting until they've surrounded her completely before exploding it. Go, 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 go. They're gonna have to leave him.
Hold the door! Hold the door!
What's happening?
Hold the door!
What? Oh,
Hold the door!
he warged into Hodor. He didn't know.
Hold the door!
Oh.
Hold the door!
Oh.
Hold the door! Hold the door! Hold the door!
Oh, man.
Hold the door! 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 Hold the door!
Oh.
Hold the door! 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 Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Oh. Damn. That is intense. Man. Alright guys, so much to talk about in this episode. We'll save the talk about Hodor for the end because that's the most crushing and most important part of the episode to me. I actually want to play a little bit of a game though. What do you guys think I'm going to score this episode? Make your guesses. I might do this in the future too, just seems like fun. I'm actually surprised that I didn't think to do this before, but... yeah, Littlefinger meets with Sansa, and it was a complete reversal of a couple of episodes or a season ago. Brienne, Sansa, and Littlefinger in the same room last time. Sansa trusted Littlefinger more than Brienne, and now that's completely switched. Littlefinger says he was riding to her aid with the Knights of the Vale, which he was. But he also says that he didn't know who he was giving her to in Ramsay. I think I asked before in a previous episode if he knew what he was doing, if he knew who Ramsay was and what he was like. And I think I actually got mixed answers. I guess it doesn't matter too much regardless, because even if he did know, he would have done it anyway. He doesn't care who gets hurt as long as it brings him closer to power. But to turn away the Vale forces when they are so lacking when Jon and Sansa are so lacking in support, that is rough. I understand she can't stand the sight of Littlefinger, and he definitely isn't an ally, but I think he could have been used, and then betray him. Maybe you can Littlefinger. But maybe there's another way to get the Knights of the Vale, though. If Sansa were to go back to Lord Royce and the others and say that she was forced by Littlefinger to lie and that he actually did kill Lysa, Robin would be in charge, and maybe Robin would be able to pledge help against the Boltons. Maybe. Littlefinger brings up Brynden Tully, though, and he has done some great things off camera, taking back Riverrun. He could be a big help, but I'm guessing he would have to leave Riverrun to help, which he can't do if the Freys aren't out of the picture entirely. And we haven't heard about Edmure either, but I assume he's still being held by the Freys. I'm assuming he didn't get to leave after his wedding. But yeah, Littlefinger leaves with the reminder to Sansa that Jon is her half-brother, still trying to sow division among them. Ugh, man. We see Arya training again, and I'm guessing the waif was taking it a little easy on Arya when Arya was blind, or Arya's not used to fighting again with her vision return just yet, because Arya is losing pretty handily again, whereas she was kind of being able to stand up for battle on somewhat equal playing field with the waif for like a scene or two. Jaqen gives Arya some history about the Faceless Men that we already learned in History and Lore. Still very cool, though. And he gives her one last chance to prove herself as a Faceless Man by killing an actress named Lady Crane. That play was so bad, but it was kind of entertaining, like, kind of. But Arya was so hurt by the portrayal of Ned Stark. Is it possible that to become a Faceless Man without fully throwing away, like, all your past and all your connections? Because I don't think she's capable of doing that. Like, I would love for her to be able to change faces, but if it means she'd have to give up her list, I don't think she can do it. I find it really interesting and somewhat telling that they blamed Tyrion for some of the things that Littlefinger did, such as betraying Ned. Littlefinger has insulated himself really well so that no one can actually see what he's doing. And yeah, the playwrights vilified Tyrion. They make it so that he was the one who betrayed Ned. They had Joffrey actually spare Ned, but had Tyrion pay Ilyn Payne to kill Ned anyway. They also made it seem like Tyrion stole Sansa as his bride. But they did get the fact that Tyrion slapped Joffrey correct, so that was fair. But yeah, I think it's just playing into like some discrimination against because he's because of his condition. But I'm hoping Arya doesn't think that Tyrion raped Sansa. Like I'm pretty sure he'd get added to her list, and we do not want that. But the young actress playing Sansa apparently is the one who wants Lady Crane dead, and it doesn't seem like Arya's having any of that. Like, she still cares about who is a good person, and honestly, like, can you just pay the Faceless Men and they'll kill anyone regardless of what kind of person they are? It seems like such a flawed system. So yeah, Arya, it'll be interesting to see if she kills Lady Crane. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Yara attempts to get the throne. Don't think I didn't notice the casual sexism across the entirety of the Iron Islands. Theon must rule. He's been gone for longer than he's ever been here. He cost the Iron Islands so many lives when he refused to be rescued, but he's a man. But Theon pledges for Yara, and now Yara knows where Theon's true loyalties lie. That's one good thing that'll come with this. But I'm going to be really annoyed if Euron gets his way and is able to seduce Daenerys. Like, that would make me not want to root for her. Like, but yeah, Euron's a bit of a savage too. Like, making fun of someone who was tortured as a prisoner of war. Who does that remind you of? But I thought it would have been really funny if Euron just died after being drowned during the ceremony. That would have been great. Just like, Yara, come back. Euron died. But now Yara and Theon have taken their best boats. And I'm wondering where they can go where they won't be considered enemies. They just said that every lord in Westeros doesn't take them seriously, so I don't think they can find refuge anywhere else. Do they go to Essos to start over? Maybe they can actually make an alliance with some of the other houses, considering some other houses might need boats. I don't know. But yeah, do they travel to Essos to start over? Euron will eventually ally or attempt to ally with Daenerys and have them killed, so I don't think that's gonna work. And it's not their way. It's not the Iron people's way to run away. So what can they do to actually take the Iron Islands back? One option would be to sail back somewhere close in the night and just assassinate everyone loyal to Euron. Maybe they can go to the Iron Bank, though that again is against their way. You got to pay the iron price. You can't pay the gold price. So, and I don't see the Iron Bank looking at them as good people to lend to anyway. I think Yara could actually try Euron's plan and try to ally with Daenerys. Like, she doesn't have as many ships as Euron will have to offer eventually, but she also won't be requesting her hand in marriage, leaving Daenerys to pursue other alliances. And Daenerys needs ships, like all of hers are gone. So maybe if Yara gets there first and Daenerys doesn't even know about Euron's plans, Yara can convince her before Euron even gets to Essos. Speaking of Daenerys, though, she wanted to forgive Jorah, but he keeps his distance from her and shows her the grayscale. And yeah, he says goodbye to her. Daenerys, I think she loves him too, definitely, just not romantically. And it hurts her so much to know that he's close to death, and it is partially her decision that led to this, even if it was a justified decision. She's normally very calm and composed. I think the only times she's really like seen like getting broken up a little, it has been to do with Jorah. But yeah, seeing her break like that, for her to actually show some vulnerability, like, it's a big deal. And Jorah uses this as his last chance to admit to her and tell her that he loves her. I wonder if Daario is jealous at all. Like, she has sex with him, but does she care about Daario the way she cares for Jorah? I don't think so. Or it's possible, but I don't think so. Jorah's like, I'll always love you, and Daario's just standing there like He wasn't like that, but it was just, I have a feeling that's what was going on in his head. Daenerys turns her vulnerability into a moment of strength, though. Like, I've always said this, having the courage to be vulnerable is a great strength. Jorah had given up on his life. He was going to go to some corner of the earth and die and kill himself probably, or go on a suicide mission to Westeros to help Daenerys. But she orders him to find a cure and be at her side when she takes Westeros. So giving his life meaning again. What an incredible, incredible scene. I love that so much. And I find it so interesting that Tyrion is doing exactly what Cersei tried to do in Westeros, unite the crown and the faith. So the Battle of Westeros will not just be Lannister versus Targaryen, it'll also be the Seven versus the Lord of Light, if all of them make it to that battle. I don't know about the Lannisters. I mean, the Shrouds, their Shrouds will be gold, so Tommen might not have long. I don't know if he survives until the Targaryens, and I don't know if the Lannisters keep their hold on the throne if he dies. Yeah, it's also a very strong move though from Tyrion. Like, he saw the faith as a huge problem and tried to make them part of the solution instead. Time will tell if they're trustworthy. Just don't arm them like your daft sister. But the High Priestess said something interesting. She said that Daenerys Stormborn is the one who was promised. And the other time we've heard language like that was with Stannis, and then with Jon, the prince that was promised. So is this meant to mean that it's actually the princess that was promised, not the prince? I don't think that's it, but maybe she is promised for something else. There's more lore here that I'm not getting that I really want to find out about soon. The priestess also says Daenerys has a role to play in this war and in the great wars to come. Wars, plural. So against the Night King and for the throne, I'm guessing. Or are there more? So I think Daenerys is safe. Like, just, she's safe story-wise because she's involved in future wars. So she'll last until, like, the end of the series. Like, at least the last season, I'm guessing. It could also be that she takes over with one war and just, like, has several wars down the line in future decades. But I don't know. But the Red Priestess shows off what she knows by talking about Tyrion's experiences on Volantis. But when Varys takes her on due to his hatred of magic, she shows off that she knows about him as well. And I thought that story about Varys's castration was just to give us backstory on Varys. But, sorry guys, this conversation makes me feel like we might actually someday find out the significance of what happened to him. And what the mage? Sorcerer? Whatever. We'll find out what he was trying to do, hopefully. Davos seems to be acting as the Stark's primary advisor, and honestly, who better, right? Everyone else is there too, though. Ed, even though he's staying at Castle Black, but Pod seems to be missing. He wasn't in this episode, like, even in the background. But they do not have the men necessary to take back Winterfell. It's funny because after Renly and then Stannis, they both had like 100,000 men. We're talking about 5,000 men the Boltons have and 2,000 men that the Wildlings have. It's just so little. It's just such a different scale. And Jon has 2,000 Wildlings plus the Tullys and whatever other men he can scrounge up from the remaining northern houses. And the Tullys aren't even sworn to him if they can't abandon River Run. Yeah, losing the Umbers and the Karstarks is rough. Robb's decisions still haunting them. Sansa wants to send Brienne to Riverrun, though. Again, like I said earlier, I don't think he can abandon Riverrun unless the Frey threat is gone. But would it be worth it to have the Wildlings help kill the Freys to get the backing of the Tullys? That could be interesting. I would watch that. I would hopefully... but... yeah, the problem with that is they've always made it seem like the twins are too hard to take, though. And the only thing that seems like it could breach it is like infiltration or dragons, and I don't think they can do either of those. I don't think they're capable of doing either of those. Sansa makes Jon a cloak with a direwolf sigil, though. That's really, really sweet, actually. But yeah, some really funny moments at Castle Black, too. Might be the last time we see it for a while, since the only character we recognize there is Ed. But yeah, Tormund looking at Brienne, and Brienne was just like, oh, jeez, why is he looking at me? And then Crow asking Ed, like, should we close the gate, Lord Commander? What the hell are you on about? I'm not the Lord Commander. Oh, wait, yes, I am. That was just so good. Bran's visions of how the White Walkers came to be. The children, humans were destroying the land, and it resulted in huge changes for the environment, and it has become an existential threat to their world. And meanwhile, people bicker with each other over pointless things like who gets to sit on the pointiest chair, while they ignore climate change believers at the wall. What a great metaphor. Well done, George R.R. Martin. So yeah, climate change. I'm going to talk about that for a little bit. There's a piece of legislation out called the Green New Deal, and it is wildly popular. 92% of Democrats and 64% of Republican citizens support it. And it's going to help fight climate change while creating millions of new jobs. It's going to be great for the economy, and yet leaders in our government don't want to pass it. Why? Because they're being paid off by big corporations. If you haven't seen the video of some little kids begging Dianne Feinstein to consider the Green New Deal, and she essentially tells them to fuck off, you can Google it. Dianne Feinstein Green New Deal. That should bring up the video. But yeah, it was disgusting, honestly. Now, when they did this poll for the Green New Deal, they left out who is sponsoring the bill and just presented what it does by itself. Because if they included who introduced the deal, the popularity would go way down. Because one of the co-sponsors is Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and she is wildly polarizing. But if you hate AOC, actually take a look at her policies. They help everyday Americans so much, and she's not saying don't eat hamburgers. My God. The vast majority of people agree with her policies, but hate her because large swaths of the media make her out to be this crazy socialist hippie. And they do that because they're afraid of her, because right now the big battle in the United States isn't left versus right, it's top versus bottom. All right, enough of the tangent. I really liked what George R. Martin did with climate change and the White Walkers. People are ignoring the people in the North people on the wall because they think they're lying about White Walkers. It's just everything fits really, really well. But yeah, Bran gets bored of sitting in the cave all day. The Night King reached Bran even though through his three-eyed ravening, and he knows Bran is a threat. I don't know the backstory on that and why he knows the three-eyed raven is a threat, but it's interesting. So just like the way Arya can't abandon herself and be no one, can Bran truly cut himself off and be the three-eyed raven? Like, some signs point to yes, like his direwolf is dead. Every Stark had one, so every Stark child had one, so it's got some symbolic meaning there. But most signs point to no. Like, he gets bored, so he wants to watch some TV and sees the White Walkers, and he's broken up about what happened to Hodor. That does not seem like an emotional detachment to me. But man, Mira wasting time running back and forth. It did let us see the Night King cracking the earth. That's another extension of his power. Like, he can change the temperature of things with so much precision that he can cause shifts in the ground. That seems really broken. I mean, if he can do that, I'm not sure the wall is secure. All he has to do is cause an earthquake and or put his hand to the wall and it could crack based on... Yeah. But Hodor was too scared to help move Bran, and the children sacrificed themselves to save them. Are there any other children left? Like, what was that, the last of their kind? Because the last one blew themselves up to give Bran, Mira, and Hodor more time. But yeah, I don't know if they exist anymore. What's interesting is that the children look drastically different than the first time we saw them. They look more like they're more part of nature now. But yeah, of course, I've been wondering for a long time what exactly happened with Hodor. I assumed it was some sort of PTSD. What happened to him was kind of horrific. I've known that Bran warging into Hodor was horrible and an invasion of his mind. But there were times in the past where it was like either warg into Hodor or everybody dies. And I'm just like, I don't like it, but you have no choice. But it was actually really heart-wrenching to find out how Willis became Hodor. My question is, how much of the future was imprinted on Willis's mind when he had that seizure? Like, how much of what was going to happen did he know? Like, it's possible he just heard the words, hold the door, but is it possible he knew which door he was holding and what the purpose was? Did he know that Bran was going to be the three-eyed raven? As Hodor, though, he was very afraid of confrontation, even though he could take anyone on in a fight. I assumed all along that it was because he was very gentle-natured, But what if it's because he knew he had to hold the door, so he avoided danger as best as he could so that he could be there to fulfill his mission? The implications of the warging into Willis are huge, though. I assumed Bran could warg into Hodor the first time he did it, because whatever condition Hodor had, it made him more susceptible to Bran's warging. But Willis was just a normal child. And yeah, it's also very interesting because of what it means for time. And it's not time traveling, but it's time, like, you can mess with time. Like, Willis became Hodor because of something that happened in the future. And there's also the question of whether or not, like, everything in the timeline is completely set in stone. There's this show, my favorite show of all time, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., actually talked about this. Excellent show. The first half of the third season, some people consider to be a little slow, but then after that, it is incredible. And there's a scene in season 3, I believe, where one of the characters explains a theory of time and how it works. So we are creatures living in a 3D world, and we can't technically see what the fourth dimension looks like. So time is just an illusion. It's actually our perception of the fourth dimension. So pretend for a second we live in a 2D world, like the surface, like, of a piece of paper. So, like, on this book, this is the piece of paper we live on. We wouldn't be able to conceive of 3D objects like this entire book, or a cube, or a sphere. So we would just perceive something 3D as multiple 2-dimensional moments. So the passage of time in a 2D world would be like this, right? We would experience each moment as a separate 2D moment. So in the third dimension, we experience 4 dimensions by multiple 3-dimensional moments. I don't know if I'm explaining this well or not, but it's extremely fascinating. God, I miss that show. So glad it's coming back for season 6 and 7. Sorry, that probably sounded like hot nonsense, but the whole point of that was saying, like, was there anything that, like, it's this theory is corroborated by what's happening on Game of Thrones, because it's technically impossible for the future to affect the past. If it's, like, linear, like, it only goes one way. But if it's set in stone, like, even if we're experiencing this first moment, this last moment is already set in stone. Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm trying to wrap my head around it, but it's really fun to think about it. But yeah, Bran is able to warg into people in the past. I'm curious if we'll see him do that again. What other consequences has he wrought on this world? Or has the previous Three-Eyed Raven done that before? Has he driven anyone else mad? Who else has he done this to? Like, all very interesting questions. But yeah, it was so incredibly heart-wrenching to see Hodor go out like that. I'm gonna miss him. It's just such a sad story. But all right, guys, for you guys that guessed, I am gonna give this episode 5 direwolves. The only other episode to get that high of a score was Tyrion Lannister's trial. Just not a dull moment in this episode, as you can see by the fact that it was a 2-parter, and I've been talking about it for like 20 minutes. And the emotional weight of both Jorah and Daenerys' scene and Hodor's scene. I mean, I've cried in past episodes, but I don't think I've cried twice before. I'm not completely sure. Someone can go back and watch everything again and count. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. That would be such a waste of time unless you would actually want to watch it again. But yeah, so far for me, this has been might be the strongest season yet. We'll see how the rest of the season plays out. But yeah, be sure to comment, like, share, subscribe. If you want to watch the next 3 episodes right now, make sure to check out the early access option on Patreon in the link in the description below. Thanks for watching. Bye, friends.